Welcome to episode 3 of the podcast Campfire Stories with Paolo Loriano. Today I'm going to talk about the quest for AI greatness, an epic journey of greed and consequences. All right, let's talk about the biggest story in the global economy right now, the AI boom. I mean, we're talking trillions of dollars flying around. But here's the thing, is any of it real? Or are we staring at the biggest bubble in history just waiting to pop? Let's get into it. Okay, so let's just get right to the chase. This is the question on literally everyone's mind, right? From Wall Street investors to the tech folks in Silicon Valley. We're seeing a flood of money and sky-high valuations that are, well, they're off the charts. But look, nobody's arguing that AI isn't important. The real question is, has the hype train just completely left the station, leaving reality way, way behind? And when I say off the charts, I mean it. Check out this number, $1.5 trillion. That's not the total value. That's just what was spent in 1 year, 2025, on building AI. It's just a mind-boggling amount of cash. To give you some perspective, you could end world hunger for 20 years with that kind of money. Wild. And it gets even crazier. You know the S&P 500? The 500 biggest companies in the US? Well, just 7 of them, all tied to AI, now make up almost a third of its entire value. A third. And here's the kicker. A lot of these companies aren't even making money. They're just burning through cash like there's no tomorrow. So yeah, with all this money pouring in, you've got to ask the trillion-dollar question. Is this a real deal technological revolution? Something on the scale of the internet? Or, electricity? Or is this whole thing just a giant, super complicated house of cards that's about to get blown over? At the heart of all this is this huge, huge gap between what everyone expects and what we're actually getting. Wall Street, they're pricing AI like we're about to get the Jetsons, Flying cars, robot butlers, and AI that does all our work. But the reality on the ground, it feels a lot more like Clippy 2.0. You remember Clippy? Yeah, it's a handy tool for some things, sure, I'll give you that, but it's not changing the world. So you're probably wondering, how in the world do things get so disconnected? How did the price tag get so inflated? Well, to figure that out, you have to do what they always say, follow the money. And let me tell you, when you do, it doesn't lead you down a straight path. It's more like a weird looping roller coaster. A huge part of this strange financial engine is this thing called a circular deal. It sounds complicated, but the idea is pretty simple. The big tech giants are basically just passing money and services back and forth to each other. It's like a weird game of hot potato that makes it look like they're all growing like crazy. Let me walk you through how this money go-around actually works. It's wild.
And speaking of money, how about the $20 you owe me?
Oh, yeah? Well, I only got 10, so here's 10 and I owe you 10.
Thanks.
Hey, Mo, you owe me 20.
Well, here's 10 and I'll owe you 10.
You owe me 20.
Here's 10, I owe you 10.
Here's the 10 I owe you.
Here's the 10 I owe you.
Here's the 10 I owe you. Good, now we're all even.
Okay, so step 1. A giant like NVIDIA invests a couple $1 billion into a hot AI startup. Let's say OpenAI. Step 2. What does OpenAI do? They turn right around and use that exact same money to buy a ton of NVIDIA's chips, because they need them. And then step 3. NVIDIA gets to book that sale as revenue. Boom! Their numbers look amazing, their stock price shoots up, and the whole cycle just feeds on itself. The investment literally becomes the revenue. It's like paying off your Visa bill using your MasterCard. Another example. A company like Amazon will say, hey, we're investing $1 billion in you. But guess what? A huge chunk of that investment isn't cash. It's just credit that the startup has to spend on Amazon's cloud services. So Amazon gets to book that as revenue. It's a completely closed loop. No new value is created. It just makes the numbers look good. Okay, so the money side of things, well, it's pretty shaky, right? It's a bit of a shell game. But what about the actual technology? I mean, that's what matters in the end. The problem is, this entire boom was built on one big idea, one core assumption, and that assumption is starting to crack big time. For a long time, the whole industry had this simple recipe, almost like a religion. They called it the scaling laws. And the idea was super straightforward. If you want a smarter AI, you just make everything bigger, more parameters inside the model, feed it way more data, and just throw more and more powerful computer chips at it. That's it. Bigger is better was the mantra, and everyone thought it was a guaranteed ticket to genius-level AI. But here's the thing. Those laws, They're not really laws. They're breaking down. We've hit a massive wall of diminishing returns. Now you can make a model 10 times bigger, 10 times more expensive, and use 10 times the energy. And you don't get a 10 times better model. Not even close. You might get a tiny little bump in performance. We're basically spending a fortune for table scraps. The magic recipe, it's not working anymore. So the big question is, why? It's not just a fluke. This whole slowdown comes down to three really deep, fundamental problems with the way we're building AI right now. And honestly, these could be fatal flaws. Okay, first up, hallucinations. You've probably heard this term. These AI models just make stuff up all the time, and they do it with incredible confidence. We're talking about the best models in the world, like GPT-4, getting things factually wrong nearly 30% of the time. Think about that. That makes them totally unreliable for anything important unless you have a human expert double-checking every single thing. Problem number two, they are awful at dealing with anything new or weird. They have what's called an outlier problem. A self-driving car can see a million trucks and be totally fine. But the first time it sees a truck tipped over on its side, it can completely freak out. Why? Because it's never seen that before, and it's training data. See, these systems are just really, really good mimics. They don't actually understand the world. And the third flaw? We are hitting cold, hard physical limits. Two of them, actually. First, data. We are literally running out of good quality text from the internet to feed these things. And second, energy. A single AI query can use several times the electricity of a simple Google search. The power demands are exploding. We're basically running out of data to feed them and electricity to power them. We're running out of fuel for this fire. So let's recap. We've got a financially bubbly situation built on top of technology that's starting to show some serious cracks. So the next logical question is, what's the pin? What's the one thing that could come along and just pop this whole thing? Well, the answer might be something that sounds a little nerdy, but it's a huge deal. Open source AI. See, while the big guys like OpenAI and Google are building these closed-off, super expensive walled gardens, a whole movement of open models is bubbling up. And here's the crazy part. They're getting just as good, but they're way, way cheaper. And that completely pulls the rug out from under the giant's business model. And this isn't some far-off theory. It is happening right now. You've got these incredible open models coming out of places like China and France, and they are eating the big guys' lunch. These aren't just little hobby projects anymore. They are a massive threat to the whole idea that a few giant companies can have a monopoly on AI, which is exactly what investors have been betting on. So, okay, let's say the music stops, the weird circular money dries up, the tech hits its limits, and cheap open source models take over. The bubble pops. Then what? What does the world look like after the hype is gone? History can give us a pretty good clue here, and it's a little scary. Think back to the dot-com crash in 2000. Even a massive winner like Amazon took 8 solid years just to get its stock price back to where it was. And a company like Cisco, the one selling the picks and shovels of the internet, it took them 25 years. So yeah, if this thing pops, the bounce back is not going to be fast. It's not guaranteed at all. But here's why this is so much more important for all of us today. In the dot-com days, the risk was kind of spread out. Today, the AI boom is all concentrated in just a handful of monster companies, the same companies that basically are the stock market. So if they go down, they could take down entire economies, the whole shebang right down with them. The fallout could be way, way bigger this time around. I think AI is a bit like filling tooth cavities with lead in the 20th century. It worked. But then science revealed that lead poisoning was a thing, and dentists spent decades replacing those fillings with alternative, non-toxic resin composites that would not kill you. My point is that by rushing to fire skilled, experienced humans and replacing them with these flawed, hallucinating AIs, we're basically erasing priceless knowledge from our companies. Cleaning up that mess, rebuilding that human expertise, could take generations. But look, a bubble popping isn't just about destruction. It's also a reset, a return to reality. And it forces us to ask a really important question. When the world is flooded with cheap, synthetic, AI-generated junk, what actually becomes valuable? What skills are truly priceless? And maybe, just maybe, The answer is all the stuff the machines can't do. The truly human things. You know, telling the truth, making someone feel something, and saying something, anything, that actually matters. I honestly believe that the current generation of AI models are the worst we will ever have. Things will improve a lot in the next couple of years. The current bubble exploding will be a tragedy, not in the sense that we will end up without the tech, because we won't, but because we have to deal with the fallout and consequence from the pure greed and speculative actions we are witnessing. Brace for impact.